Ladies and gentlemen, friends and rivals, my name is Jared, and with me is my colorific friend, Hope.
Hey, everybody.
We will be your hosts for the episode. We are honored and grateful that you have joined us at our table. Here at the Game Table Podcast, we take a look at various board, card, and other tabletop games. We give an overview, provide a little insight on how to play, and share some of our thoughts, all in an attempt to give you an idea of how well it would fit for you and your table. Today, we will be looking at two different games. First up is Nosy Bear, designed by Christian Tigerman and artwork created by Annalena Kuehler. Then, we're going to also talk about Dragon's Breath, designed by Gunter Burkhardt and Lena Burkhardt, and artwork created by Daniel Dobner. Both of these games are very different in their own right, but they both have a very fun take on color identification and decisions about how to make sure that they're getting the right colors where they need to go. So let's sit down at the kids' table and discuss. How are you doing today, Hope?
Good.
Are you excited to be on the podcast?
Yes.
That's awesome. Hope, we're going to talk about two games today. Can you tell me what those games are?
Nosy Bear and Dragon Breath.
And can you remember what company made these games, Hope?
HABA.
Yeah, that's right. So, Hope, normally we talk about how to play these games, so I'm going to do that really quick, and then we will just jump right in. So, I think the way I want to do this episode, both of these games are geared towards younger children. They both have an age rating of 4+ for Nosy Bear and 5+ officially for Dragon's Breath. I will just go ahead and say on the front end that I think both of these can be handled by a 4-year-old. Hope is a big fan of both of them and does quite well with both of them as well. I'm going to go ahead and give a quick, brief overview of how to play both of these games, and then I'm going to give my thoughts, and then we will wrap up by giving Hope a chance to sit down at the kids' table for the first time and answer some questions about both of these games. So first up with Nosy Bear, it's a very straightforward color identification game where you have various noses that make a circle in the middle of the table. Each player is going to take turns rolling a die. They have a handful of cards that are tile-like, nice and thick, and they have various characters on them. The goal is to match up all of your tiles with the different colored noses in the middle of the table. So on your turn, you will roll the die, and there is a bear wooden figure that is going to basically dance around the circle on various noses. And the number that you roll determines how far you move the bear. You can move it any direction that you want to around the table, but you do have to go the full length. Then, if you have a bear that matches the nose that you land on, then you can play it, and it will basically go around the wooden nose. But there'll be room to put 2 more because there's 3 of each color in the deck, and then that'll be the end of your turn. But if you don't have a bear card that matches that color, you're not able to play this time. The game also has a variant, which I would recommend that you use, especially for younger kids. Not only does it give a little flexibility, but it also adds more color to the game in these very vibrant birthday presents. And they basically act as a way of being a little more flexible. So you could land on one space, but then if you spend your birthday present, then you can choose the color to either the right or the left of the space that you landed on. And somebody else can pick up that birthday present and be able to use it later on. And you can too. So it adds a little bit of variance, and it also gives a little bit of flexibility. The first player to run out of cards is the winner, and that's how you play Nosy Bear. I'll also go ahead and talk about how to play Dragon's Breath. So Dragon's Breath uses most of the box in its gameplay. You will set up this ring tower in the middle of the board, And the board sits inside of the bottom of the game box because you're going to have gems that are going to be falling into the box potentially. And you're also going to be collecting and holding your gems in each corner of the box. So you're going to set this board up and you're going to have this ring. And inside the ring, and it's individual rings stacked on top of each other, either 8 in a 2 or 4 player game or 9 in a 3 player game. And inside of this cylinder of rings, you're going to have gems. And they are different colored. You'll have orange, green, red, purple, and blue. And so everyone is going to take turns being what's called the daddy dragon. The idea is that there's this frozen towers of gems, very much reminiscent of a piñata. The dragon is burning away at the frozen tower, and gems are falling out of it. The children, or whoever's playing, their goal is to decide which colored gems are going to fall out of the sides. So the person who's acting as the daddy dragon that round picks last. So the person to the left of them picks one of the 5 colors, and then someone else picks one of the other colors, so on and so forth until everybody, including the one controlling the daddy dragon, has picked a color. Then the player who's the daddy dragon will lift up a ring off the tower, and certain gems will fall off. Now, there's lots of different strategies to how you lift the ring, but there are also, some minutiae rules about what you can touch and not touch and what you can do. But there are different decisions about how you slide the ring off. You can slide it off to the side. You can lift it straight up, whatever you want to do to get a little bit creative. And then these gems are going to fall out of the tower and onto the table. Some of them are going to fall into little holes on the board that fall into the box. Those are just lost. But then whatever gems fall that are your color that are still sitting on the game board, you get to collect and put in your corner of the box. Once the game is over, all the rings have been selected and there's no more gems that can fall off, then you lift up the board and count up your number of gems. And whoever has the most gems wins. I will go ahead and mention as well, because I don't know that I did, and I think that it is worth mentioning, that the daddy dragon does change hands from turn to turn. So after one person has lifted up the ring, then the next person becomes the daddy dragon, which means the person to their left gets to be the first selecting person, and so on and so forth until all the rings are gone. So with that, I want to talk about Nosy Bear and some of the thoughts that I have with that. Some of the things that I really like about Nosy Bear, we'll start with the components. I think it's got great chunky tiles, makes it easy for kids to hold and for kids to see, but not too big that it becomes overwhelming, and they're not too thin like cards that it's harder for them to finagle. So I think that was really a solid choice, as well as, like most HABA games, there's solid wooden components. I mean, HABA has always been top notch for their kids games, and they do not disappoint here it's a pretty simple game. So for them to have as many wooden components as they do, I think is a really nice add. I'll say too, there's just a lot of vibrant colors in this game, which it should. I mean, it's a game about colors and identifying your colors and that sort of thing. And they do a great job of using multiple blues and a brownish red and a red. And it's not just your standard array to the point that they're all different. It's very easy to tell the difference between the colors, but I do like the color choices. It definitely adds a nice flavor and also helps the kids to learn more than just your basic colors. The game does a good job of color matching and counting. There's several games in this genre of just moving a piece around the board and identifying a color. But I think from a 4-year-old's perspective, one of the things that I really like is that there's an added basic decision about where to play. So you can go both ways around the circle. Which ways do you want to go? What colors are already all spent and they're on the board already? What are you thinking about for your future turns? Obviously, there's other people rolling, so there's only so much you can do to control that. But there is at least some basic decision about which way you want to move, which allows little kids to learn both the ability to pay attention to strategy, pay attention to what's already been played, and things of that nature. There's also a decision about what to play when, because if there's no yellows played yet, and I know that I've got one yellow, well, I might want to go in a direction that gives me a benefit to that. And so teaching children when to play where is a skill that I love seeing in a game that's rated as young as this. I think one other thing that I didn't mention in the overview of how to play, there's also a token called the Nosy Bear token that is bouncing around from color to color. And when it's on that color, then nobody can play any colored cards there. But instead, if you land on that space, you move the Nosy Bear to a different location. So that adds an extra element of decision of what do I want to block off? Am I going to be the one to go move the Nosy Bear token, or am I going to let somebody else do it? So then I can go and place my card there, assuming I get the right roll. So I really like the decisions that can be made there. Another thing that I really like is there's not really a board per se. It's just setting up the noses and the cards. It has a lot of flexibility about where you play the game. You can be playing on the carpet, or you can take it with you to a friend's house. Wherever it may be that you're playing, it's very easy to set up and doesn't require very much in the way of a table or things of that nature. I will say the only thing that I don't know that I really care for, and this is something that's very common in these roll the dice and then just move. Once you get down to just a few cards, the die can become uncooperative. And so you get into a situation where you're just rolling the dice, trying to find the right roll to get the color, and players end up getting stuck a little bit. It's not a huge deal. I mean, it still sits in a very generous 10 to 15 minute play time. But like I said, you can get stuck when you're just rolling around, not hitting the number that somebody needs to be able to end the game. Overall, Nosy Bear has been a great hit with Hope. We got this one kind of late, even though it's been around for a long time, and she has really enjoyed it. I think it's great for a 4-year-old. The older kids will play with Hope. I think they find it okay, but it's definitely one that's geared towards those younger ages. And so if you're looking for a game that has some color matching, but also a little bit of decision, but not really too much, then I would recommend Nosy Bear. All right, so then we also have Dragon's Breath. Dragon's Breath is a fun little game. I kind of wish they made a bigger version for adults, because I think it's close to being like a really fun game mechanic that is built into this game. The gems are really fun. They got a nice quality to them as well, and chose the right colors because it really pops on the board when you're trying to collect your colored gems. There's good tactile fun here, so being able to lift off a ring or slide that ring to the side or whatever it is that you decide to do about how you want to take that ice ring off the top, it adds an element of other players having to anticipate, okay, does Faith like to slide things to the side, whereas Hope likes to lift them straight up, and trying to anticipate what they're going to do when you're deciding which color to pick that you think is going to have the most of. And then you also have the assessment of, well, I see a lot of red on top, but I see the purples on the side closest to the ring edge, so I think they might fall more. And so having to learn about that decision about how gravity actually works. Yes, there's a good chance the ones on top are going to fall, but they might not, depending on how the ring is moved. And the ones on the side that are leaning up against the cylinder might actually fall more. So it, in a way, kind of teaches the physics of how gravity works a little bit. There's also decisions about how you want to go about moving the ice ring. You might have slid it off to the side the first time, but coming back around the second time, maybe you want to choose a different strategy based on who chose what colors. This game plays really quick. It's super fun. All 3 kids really enjoy this one in our family. And I also, it's not much, but I really like the look of the artwork on the inside of the box and the fun reveal that you get when you lift up the game board and you're looking in the bottom of the box, and it looks like you found this treasure trove of gems like you would at the back of a Dragon's Hoard cave or something like that. It's just a cool little touch. Again, I really like this one. Again, I wish there was a more adult-like version of this game because I think there's really something fun here, but highly recommend this one for anyone looking for a good kids family game. It plays really well for anyone ages 4 to 10. So with that, I am going to say let's head over and see what Hope has to say about these two games. Hope, before we get started talking about Nosy Bear, I wanted to ask you, do you like birthday parties?
Yes.
Do you like going to all kinds of parties?
Yes.
What's your favorite part about going to parties?
That's the gift cake.
Oh, yeah. Cake is delicious. So, in Nosy Bear, we're trying to match up party guests with their favorite color, right?
Yes.
What's your favorite color?
Green.
Green's your favorite color? That's really fun. Do you have a favorite part of the Nosy Bear game?
Well, you get points.
You like to get points?
Yes.
Are you sure it's not getting the birthday presents?
Yes.
You like to go for those a lot. Do you think you learn more about your colors with this game?
Yes.
Would you recommend this game to other 4-year-olds?
Yes.
Is this your favorite game?
Yes.
Really? This is your favorite game in the whole wide world of games?
Yes.
Wow. That's pretty fun, kiddo. Is there anything else you want to say about this game?
Well, I like matching the pads to the same color.
That's great. I bet you also like rolling the die.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Do you like rolling the die?
Mm-hmm.
And counting out the different spaces?
Yes.
Do you feel like you can make good decisions about where you should move your birthday bear to?
Yes.
All right. Now, Hope, we've talked about Nosy Bear. So now it's time to talk about Dragon's Breath. Do you have a favorite colored gem?
Yes.
What color?
Purple.
Do you like being the daddy dragon more, or do you like guessing which gems are going to fall?
Getting the gem so you get points.
Do you feel like you've gotten better at figuring out which gems are going to be falling?
Yes.
Do you have a favorite trick that daddy does?
Pretend that he's a monster.
A monster?
Yep.
What kind of monster?
A tickle one.
That is fun. So this daddy can breathe fire. Do you think I should be able to breathe fire?
Nah.
No, that would be crazy. I bet the gems are like candy in a lot of ways. Do you have a favorite candy?
Popsicle.
Popsicles? That's not a candy, you silly. I mean, I guess it kind of is. It's more like sugary ice. But we'll take it. That sounds good. Which flavor do you like best?
All the flavors.
That makes sense. Okay, I have a couple of questions for you, all right?
Okay.
Do you really like the game Dragon's Breath?
Yes.
Now, a little bit ago, you said Nosy Bear was your favorite game. Do you like Nosy Bear or do you like Dragon's Breath better?
Both.
You like both of them? You stinker, you got out of my question. Do you think it was easy to learn Dragon's Breath?
Yes.
Did you get confused the first couple times you played because you just wanted to pick your favorite color, even if that wasn't the best choice?
Yes.
But you learned, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Do you think that you would recommend this game to your friends?
Yes.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to say?
Dragon's Breath is the best game of my whole life.
What? Even more than Nosy Bear?
Yes.
Would you say that you really like both of these games?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, hey, Hope, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Welcome.
Do you have anything else you want to say to your listeners before you leave?
No.
You're all done?
Yes.
Okay, dokie. Well, we're going to wrap this episode up, but Hope, I just want to say thank you so much again. And it was fun having you, and it was fun playing games with you, baby girl.
Okay, good night.
All right, well, good night. And thank you, listeners. If you have feedback or want to give us your thoughts on these games, we would love to hear from you. Links to our socials are in the description. If you don't like socials, I totally get it. Check out our website at thegametailpodcast.com, shoot us an email at thegametailpodcast@gmail.com, or find us on Board Game Geek. All these links are also in the description. 5-star reviews, subscribing to your podcast player of choice, following us on socials, and joining the conversation on Discord. All of these heroic actions are immensely helpful in growing this podcast. Special thanks to Angie Santiago for our cover art. and to Anna Snyder, who made the intro and outro music. Join us next week as we head back over to the feature table. In the meantime, may your dice rolls and your card draws be blessed, and your experiences at the table be ones to remember forever.